Good song.
I've seen London, Paris, Budapest, Kashmir, and Tokyo. And there ain't no sign like a desert night looking down on Mexico. To the moons of Mars and Jupiter, round Saturn rings the road. Past the frozen plains of Pluto, where even the sun shines cold.
And man, I do mean cold.
Then our interstellar stallions sail through a starless void. There was nothing to miss in that emptiness, not even a stray asteroid. So we picked up the trail of a comet tail. Man, you can't even dream that far. And the galloping beat like the rhythm of an old cat-gut guitar, just strumming to the distant stars. Well, it's
Wow. Huh. One of my all-time favorite songs. That was amazing. That's Kenny Rogers. It's called Planet Texas. And the story is about how he's like an old cowboy and space cowboys, like alien cowboys, came down to Earth and took him for a ride throughout space. Like, is that like the coolest story ever? I love that. But that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about stories, particularly stories about space and stories of how the Milky Way began. So I keep losing my screen. Just give me 1 second. One of these days I'll tell you a story about how this house has no problems at all with technology. We'll see. All right, let me share my screen. That way you can read along with me. There we go. And boom, boom, boom. Ah, can you see it? Perfect. Okay, this is a tale, and I shared this last week with you, but this is a tale of how the Milky Way began. 1,000 centuries ago in Africa, the Abathwa tribe gathered to share a story deciphered from the ancient rock paintings. They told a tale of a young girl who dug her hands into the embers and ash of a fire and threw it into the sky to create a path for traveling villagers to navigate their way home. The embers and ash became the Milky Way, and centuries upon centuries later, travelers still used that path to find home. So that's one tale in Africa about how the Milky Way began. Let's share. Boom, 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 boom. This one here. I will have it in, I don't know where it went. I don't know what happened, but all of my things got all kooky. You know why? I'm on the wrong end. I have a couple different internets open, apparently. I got it right this time. Okay, here we go. The legend of the Milky Way. This house, you was just all over the place today. I went too big, too small, too big, too big. Okay, we'll leave it there. The legend of the Milky Way. Read along with me. Storytelling has always been an important part of the American Indian culture. So that tells us right away, this is not from Africa like the last story. This is about Native Americans. Many beautiful legends talk about everything from why a rabbit has a small tail to the origin of the buffalo. One of the most interesting legends is the one that tells how the Milky Way came to be. In the legend, an old man and woman in a village noticed their cornmeal was disappearing from their baskets. This was a real problem, since they needed the cornmeal to eat. They noticed huge paw marks near the cornmeal, so they believed a spirit dog was stealing their corn. They couldn't imagine that an ordinary-sized dog would leave paw prints that large. One night, all the villagers awaited the dog's arrival. When he came and started eating the cornmeal, they began making a lot of noise to scare him away. He leaped into the air and flew off into the night sky with cornmeal dripping out of his mouth. The spirit dog vanished forever, but the cornmeal in the sky he left behind became the Milky Way. Each grain of cornmeal became a star. That's pretty awesome. I like that story. And you know what? It makes sense that it had to be a spirit dog because regular dogs can't fly up into its space, into the sky. So a spirit dog makes more sense. So let's look at these comprehension questions. It says, what type of story is this? So now we're going over to Miss Hodges' class right now, aren't we? Into reading. But guys, reading is everywhere. It's in math, it's in science, social studies. It's all over the place. So what type of story is this? Is this realistic fiction? Well, realistic tells me no, because a spirit dog flying into space and corn turning into stars, that's not very realistic. So, historical fiction. Okay, hold on. Historical. They said many years ago, didn't they? Many beautiful legends. We're talking about legends, and we know legends happen a long time ago. Okay, and fiction does mean fake, so it could be historical fiction. But then it says folk tale. So it could be historical fiction. It could be folk tale. Which one fits better? Folktale. Historical fiction is more of a story when we're talking about like real people. Like if we made a story about Abraham Lincoln being a little kid and I don't know, riding a horse, okay? That would be more historical fiction. It's a made-up story about something in history, okay? So folktale would be the correct answer here. Number 2, cornmeal is made from wheat, corn, or a mixture of wheat and corn. Well, I hear cornmeal kind of sounds like oatmeal, right? I don't know, a mixture of wheat and corn. I'm going to go back because let's prove the answer. They noticed their cornmeal was disappearing. So there's cornmeal. There's cornmeal. They noticed their cornmeal was disappearing from their baskets. And since they needed the cornmeal to eat, they noticed that they believed a spirit dog was stealing their corn. So now they're using the word corn. They waited, and when he came and started eating their cornmeal, they made a lot of noise, and he had cornmeal dripping out of his mouth. But the cornmeal in the sky he left behind became the Milky Way. Each grain of cornmeal became a star. Did we see anything about wheat? I didn't see anything about wheat. So that tells me the answer is going to be corn. And that is what cornmeal is. Cornmeal is corn that's ground up to kind of like be looking like a little bit more like flour, ground up in little pieces. Number 3, what is the author's purpose? Here we go again with reading. What is the author's purpose for writing the article? To persuade, to inform, or to entertain? We know persuade's not going to cut it because they're not trying to tell us to do anything. But to inform and to entertain, both of those things happened in this story. I was informed about a Native American folktale, a legend about how the Milky Way formed, and I was entertained. I thought that was kind of a cool story. I enjoyed it. So what would be the best answer? Even though I learned something new, is it all about entertaining? Or is it kind of entertaining, but the purpose was to make me learn something new? These are always tricky ones, aren't they? Whether it's to inform or to entertain. So that's why rules and definitions can help us. Because when we get into this kind of, I don't know, type of area, we look back to the definition. To inform means to kind of educate you on the facts, okay? To educate you on the facts. And yeah, it is a fact that this is a legend from Native American cultures, but did we learn any like facts of the world? Did we learn any scientific facts? Did we learn any facts about anything like, you know, like that you'd find in a textbook, things like that? Because to inform, think of like textbook information. Yeah, so no, I did learn about Native Americans, and I do guarantee that if you could find a textbook about different cultures, and that would be in there. But you know what? It's more of an entertain, and that's what folk tales are about. They're about entertaining. Okay. Which do you think is a synonym for disappear? Vanish, appear, or materialize? So where did we find disappear in the story? Did we find that actually word? Here it is. The cornmeal was disappearing from their baskets. So what would fit in there? Their cornmeal was vanishing from their baskets, the cornmeal was appearing from their baskets, or the cornmeal was materializing from their baskets. Yeah, vanishing works, right? Vanish and disappear would be the same. Appear is the opposite. Disappear is to go away. To appear is to show up. And then materialize is the same as appear. Materialize would be to show up, to just like materialize. Dematerialize, that's when it would be breaking down. All right, so yeah, a synonym for disappear would be vanish. Now, why did the Native Americans believe it was a spirit dog who stole their cornmeal? A, it was invisible, or B, it left huge paw prints, or it sang an eerie song. Well, we kind of heard a little bit of an eerie song this morning. I liked that song. But let's look. Here we go. Oh, look what it says. So they believed a spirit dog was stealing their corn. So they believed it. So what happens before that? So that's going to give us our answer. They noticed huge paw marks near the cornmeal. So they believed a spirit dog was stealing their corn. Okay. So that's their reaction to it, right? This happened, so this happened. Okay. So it was the answer. It left huge paw prints. And they even gave you a further sentence about that right here. They couldn't imagine that an ordinary sized dog would leave paw prints that large. Okay. Let's go down to number 6. Looky there. Here is your next STEAM challenge. To get those bonus points, write your own legend about how the Milky Way could have been created. Use your imagination. Start with what you think the Milky Way resembles or looks like, and then go from there. All right? So where you're going to go is open sesame. There we go. You're going to go to Class Dojo. And we're going to get this set out of the way. And I'm going to give you an example as soon as my page loads. Okay, here we go. Oh, I have some emails. Yay! Guys, email me questions. Okay, so what you would do to answer this question, let's go Halle Berry. Oh, I hit the wrong button. Let me go to her portfolio. Okay. So where you have that journal entry, that's what you're going to answer with. Here, I'm going to put the, whoop, that's an old one. Let me get back there. There it is. I forgot to hit copy. So this is what you're going to see. There you go. Write your own legend about how the Milky Way could have been created. And you're going to text in your entry. So you're going to type in a story like we did with the Back to the Future one. Okay, great answers with that. I want your answers. I don't want mom to type this up. Now, one of my favorite, I can't say my very favorite because there were some amazing ones, but one of my favorite answers from the Back to the Future was Ben's, because I can tell Ben wrote it himself and it was fabulous. I mean, it was good. And I could definitely tell, I could hear Ben speaking through this. Okay. I see a lot of these things that are writing and I said, this looks like a college professor wrote this. I don't want mom's story. I don't want dad's story or grandma's story. Guys, I don't care if you forgot to capitalize or if you put a period instead of a comma. Or I don't care. I really don't. I want to know what's in your big, beautiful head. And if you say, oh, but I don't know how to type very well, deal with it, figure it out. You'll never get any better unless you practice. Okay? So I want what you have to say. I want a beautiful story out of your head. Now, this is a STEAM challenge, so you don't have to do it. It's not graded. It's for extra credit, and you'll get some of those Class Dojo points too as well. But you don't have to do it. You know, if you feel like you're too busy or you want to go outside and play instead, sure, absolutely. Go for it. That's totally fine. But please make sure that it's your work and not mom's and dad's. Okay? That's all I ask. Okay, my loves. I will see you tomorrow. Please message me if you have questions. Okay? All right. Bye. Love you. Yippee-yi-yi.